I'm Onyx, and I don't know about you, but I hate renaming stuff as a build in Space Engineers. So, like any self-respecting nerd, I'm going to fix it in code, and after watching this tutorial, you'll know how to do the same as well. Let's see what we can do about this mess. I have a programmable block here with a script loaded that's gonna let us rename some of this stuff. So let's say I want to rename all these corner lights on my grid, so the white ones in the terminal, to something else. I'm gonna give it two arguments. I'm gonna tell it find anything containing the string light and rename it to bulb. So if we run this, as you can see, we get all these bulbs, and if I refresh the terminal, it's going to be properly sorted. And yeah, now you have all of them grouped together because they all share the same name, numbered from 1 through 6, which is all of the corner lights I had on this grid. Okay, so I have made a mess of this, but I have been so smart as to actually group some of these lights. Now, what if I want to rename only the stuff in this group? Let's go back to the script, and I'm gonna type in G:, which means find all the blocks in this group, and the group I'm gonna tell it to use is lights, as you can see up here. And I'm gonna tell it to rename all of the items in it back to light. So I run the script, and if you look at this, when I select this group, now these two are back to being named light 1 and light 2. And refresh the terminal so they get grouped nicely. And there you go. Okay, so let's check out some other arguments you can give this script. If I open this all up again, as you can see, I have reloaded this grid. So we are back to this mess we started with. And I want to do the same thing again. I want to rename all my lights to bulb, but I'm also pretty sure I'm going to be adding more of them. I don't think just 1 digit is going to be enough for all that, so I'm going to prepare for that. I'm going to tell it to use 3 digits at the end of each name, and it's going to pad it with zeros if the number of the light is less than 3 digits long. So if you run this, you can see that all my lights are now named bulb 001 to bulb 006. And you know, it's gonna go all the way up to 999 if I ever get that many lights. The good thing about this is you won't be getting like bulb 2 after bulb 10, which will happen if you just use the regular automatic Space Engineers naming. So this makes it much easier to find stuff. Okay, so far we have been only renaming stuff that's on our grid. What if we want to rename all of our lights on whichever grid we have connected to this one? So, once again, let's do the same old thing. Light to bulb. Now we should tell it how many digits we want to use, but I'm fine with script determining that itself. So I'm just gonna tell it 0, which means it's gonna determine any amount of digits it needs on its own. So after that, I'm gonna tell it true, which means, hey, I want to rename all of the other connected grids as well. So if we run it with these arguments, you can see it renamed everything to bulb, and if we let it resort, you can see it started counting from 1 once again from every grid that is connected. So this yellow grid has bulb 1, bulb 2, bulb 3 and bulb 4, while our own grid, that is the white grid, has bulb 1 to bulb 06. Okay, so we managed to rename everything on all connected grids, but now we made a different kind of mess. We have all these lights renumbered from 01 again, and even though we have these colors in the terminal, we have no idea which grid they are on. So if I go back to my script, and this is the last thing we ran. Let's tell it to rename everything with a light in it to bulb. We're gonna keep the script automatically determining what it needs to do. We're gonna tell it to rename all the grids, and we're gonna add another argument, which we are going to make true, which means for every block you are renaming, add the grid name that the block is on to its name. So if we run this, you can see I have bulb01 on demo station. I have bulb01 on the Trident, which is my small ship that's connected to the station, and we have these connected to these large grids with numbers, which are basically lights on the rotors. So if you need to rename lights on rotors or other unnamed grids, you can use this to find out what the grid name is without having to add some kind of a control panel to the grid and finding out its name that way. So let's take a look at renaming stuff that's on a specific grid. So I'm gonna open this up, and as you can see, I have this Trident grid, which is my small ship connected to the station. Going back to the programmable block, let's type in the arguments from the start. So you can see the lights on it are called bulb now. So do rename everything with bulb to light. Use automatic digit numbering. We are just this argument here to tell it to rename other grids is basically not important in this example. Since we are going to give it a specific grid, it's never going to rename anything else. So whatever you put here, it's not important, but we're going to set it to false. And we're going to tell it to not append the grid name. So on the Trident, we'll just have light 1, light 2, up to light whatever we have. And as the last argument, we're going to give it the name of the grid we want stuff renamed on. So in this case, Trident. So if we run the script now, let's resort it. As you can see, I have light 1 up to light 4, which are on the grid Trident. If we check here, go into its terminal, you can see light 1 to light 4 is white on it. So that's the lights that are on the actual Trident grid. Okay, now that we took a look at all the arguments you can pass to this script, I want to point out one more feature it has. So I reset the grid again, and we have these corner lights here, and I added some interior lights as well. So let's say we want to do the whole light to bulb renaming thing again, but we still want to see if they're corner or interior variant. So what we can use is a thing called regular expressions. Now, if you never use these or you don't know what they are, this is going to be a bit confusing, but don't worry, I'm going to post a link to a site where you can learn the basics of it, and also a website which enables you to test your expressions before you use them in real world or in Space Engineers in this case. So the way we tell the script to use regular expressions is we enclose our search term in slashes. So anything between the slashes is going to be a regular expression. So we wanted to capture this corner or interior bit, and we want to use it in the new name. So we are going to do a group, which is made by putting a piece of the expression in the parentheses, and we're just going to tell it to capture whatever it can find before it finds the word light. Now keep in mind, as opposed to the regular search, this is case sensitive, and you do have to type in light with a capital L in this case. And so now it will match anything, then light, and then we have this number Space Engineers provided us. So we're just going to tell it to match anything coming after the light as well. So let's do the replacement now. Once again, we're going to tell it to use a regular expression. because since we put this bit here in parentheses, it got captured in what's called a back reference. Basically, there's a variable that this is now saved into, and you can use it in your replacement. So the way to access it is we do $1. So $sign means use a back reference, and 1 means the first one we made, which in our case is this bit here that captures anything before a space and light. So if you do that and tell it, okay, so you have this bit, which is going to be corner or interior in our case, and follow it up with bulb. Now it's going to replace it with corner bulb or interior bulb, and you don't have to add in the number because the script is still going to add in all the numbers as it did in previous examples. So if we run this, and let's just refresh the terminal to make it a bit more clear. So we now have corner bulb 1 through 6, and we also have interior bulbs starting at 7 and going all the way up to 31. So what we did is we captured everything that had the word light in it. We kept the first bit, so in this case corner or interior, and replaced it with bulb. Okay, so I hope you found this informative and that you'll find the script useful. The link to the workshop is going to be in the video description. If you need to refer back for any arguments, you can also find all of these examples in the script itself. It's all going to be in the top in comments. And if you're a scripter yourself and want to reuse any of the code, all of the actual renaming code is separated in its own method, and you can just copy paste anything you need to your own script. Until next time, I'm Onyx, and see ya!